So hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to this evening's or today's session focusing on manufacturing. It's a very vast topic and we have been exploring or touching upon this topic throughout the years from different perspectives. More recently with programs such as Reframe, which focuses on fashion and how fashion industry can contribute to manufacturing industries, but also with the projects Vojext and Better Factory, which have just started, but also through STARTS residencies and the many residencies that have taken place. But I think the best way will be through our presenters and our speakers here tonight, who will really show the multitude of perspectives that we can deal with the topic of manufacturing and what artists can bring to this topic. So please let me introduce you to our speakers here tonight. This is Foteini, Setaki, Miha Turšić, and Ali Mohammed. Foteini is the co-founder of the New Raw, and the New Raw is a design and research studio based in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, and they use robotic 3D printing with recycled plastic to develop and implement circular design concepts with a high aesthetic value, but also a societal impact. And the bigger vision behind all their projects or products is really to contribute to a closed material cycle for plastic, raise public awareness, and to really stimulate local production. And the New Raw has been involved with their project Print Your City as a STARTS residency. Next to that, we have Miha Turšić. Miha works as a project developer at Waag Society in Amsterdam. Miha is also the co-founder of the Cultural Center of European Space Technologies and specializes in out-of-the-box solutions. He has been developing projects for both the Waag Open Design Lab and Open Wet Lab. And Miha is also involved as a coordinator of the project Vojext within Waag Society. And lastly, Ali Mohammed, who works for the National Research Center of Finland. Ali has an extensive background in robotics and is also the project coordinator of the European STARTS program Better Factory, which focuses on manufacturing industry. So I suggest that I give the floor to our speakers here tonight, and Foteini, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Give me one moment to share my screen. So yeah, today in this presentation, I would like to show a bit our approach of our design studio, the New Raw, towards using recycled plastic by employing new technologies and digital craftsmanship. My name is Foteini Setaki, and together with Panos, Sakkas, we are both co-founders of the New Raw. We are both architects in the background, and since 2015, we are working with recycled plastic waste and trying to give a meaningful application to this specific waste source by using robotic 3D printing and users' involvement. Our starting point was the observation that we consume a lot of resources and generate enormous amounts of plastic waste that very often ends up in the environment, downgrading its quality and creating this kind of nasty images that actually are really embarrassing for us human living. So as designers, we wanted to show a better way of using this material and actually try to develop concepts where actually plastic waste can become a local raw material that can be transformed and used in applications that can upgrade, let's say, the cities. So that was our starting point. the idea of locally sourcing and transforming plastic waste and trying to use it into applications in the city that can be long lasting and easy to trace. So basically, what we try to achieve through our work is to close the loop of plastic waste locally by using 3D printing, but also users' involvement. By doing so, there are certain advantages, not only from a, let's say, societal point of view, but also just looking on the material cycle. Because by this technique, we are able to really shorten the life of the the recycled process of the material, and for example, just print directly from washed and shredded plastics. Talking a bit about the process, the way we do it is that actually first we need to sort the plastic waste. Even though plastic is one word, actually it's a family of materials, and in order to achieve a high quality product, one needs to start from sorting. And usually you will find this kind of triangle on different plastic products with a number. And depending on the number, this number indicates the type of plastic. So it's really important to start from sorting. And what is interesting to notice is that, especially when it comes to plastic packaging, very often we notice that one object might consist of many different types of plastic. So for example, in this case, the shampoo bottle might have a different type of plastic for its body, for the cup, and then for the sticker. So actually sorting is a quite labor intensive and important step to do. Then what we do is washing, shredding, and we are ready to go. Start transforming this material into new products, giving new life to this previously wasted material. This video shows a bit the process. So first, as I mentioned, is to create the material, to create a type of threads of 3 to 5 millimeter size that we will feed the printer. And then by heating it, being able to reshape it and create products that are, let's say, like the ones of the picture, that can be like, have a range of applications from, let's say, street furniture to interiors, playgrounds, bus stops, and many more. Previously, I talked about the different types of plastics, like the different numbers on in the triangle, but it's also sometimes important to know the previous life of the material we work with. So for example, if it's a plastic waste coming from households, or if it's plastic waste coming from marine, cleanups, etc. So this might give us a lot of information, and might help us to find a better application for this material. To mention here that in general through our work, we try to work mostly with challenging waste streams. Both household plastic waste, but also marine plastics are quite challenging because they are not so homogeneous compared to other waste streams. And that actually gives an extra value to our, and we can give an extra value to this material with our process by creating products that are exactly are really customized for these specific material properties. So I think everybody would agree that it makes sense to recycle plastic waste, but then why to do it with 3D printing? Besides, let's say, the commonly known advantages of this technology, we find particularly interesting the idea of creating, let's say, products that are custom. For example, in this neighborhood in Mechelen in Belgium, where actually for a new developing neighborhood, we had a small series of public furniture created. That they were not only produced from the plastic waste of the neighborhood, but also we could adjust the design into the architectural, let's say, details of the neighborhood. and in that way create a unique piece that also is produced in low volumes. Furthermore, what we try to do is actually create a process that is zero waste, not only because it's an additive approach, 3D printing, but also the materials we work with. We make sure that we can do it in a way that they can be recycled again. So, for example, here you see on the left side, scrap material coming from our own waste, like from misprints or let's say bad quality prints. And then on the right side, podium we printed for a conference made from our own waste. From a design point of view, also there are many advantages of using this technology because, for example, we can create textures and ornaments that could be difficult to be. It would be difficult to be made with a specific with other techniques and with a specific material. And in that case, for example, we tried to let's say integrate some functional ornaments in this series of bit elements that enhance the experience of the user. So, for example, in this fitting room, we created these textures that actually let the light and the wind come in, and in that way create a pleasant environment for the user to change clothes. Or, for example, in the sunbed on the right, we created a texture that would let the water drain, and in that way make it more functional. But anyhow, in this presentation, I wanted to focus mostly on our project in your city that, as Ramona mentioned before, relates also to the STARTSEU program. It was partially supported by the vertical program. And there, what we try to do is to test the possibilities of working with household plastic waste and 3D printing. Our very first, our starting point in this concept was the XXX bench that we designed specifically for the municipality of Amsterdam. That was in 2016. And it was the very first time to basically prove the concept that yes, it is possible to print from this very difficult waste stream. And the outcome of this research was this bench that was weighing 50 kilos. And that was the equal amount of the plastic waste consumed by 2 Amsterdammers per year. So it has also, the design had also symbolic value. It was a bench for 2 persons. And basically it had an interactive shape in order to show that we needed some collaboration in order to produce it. This very first result brought us to the next step of the project, Bring Your City, in Thessaloniki, the second largest city in Greece, where we tested actually our idea in a full city scale. So basically we ran a campaign where the citizens were invited to recycle their plastic waste and design together with us the new furniture of the city, and be part of the decision making by not only choosing designs, but also the location of the new furnitures, where to be placed. For that reason, we opened the Zero Waste Lab in the city center, and there citizens, schools, students, young professionals could come, bring their plastic waste, but also come and learn about the circular economy, the value of plastic and why to recycle it, and then also, and in that way, make the recycling process of plastic fully transparent. And especially, and that was a really interesting to observe, that people really felt empowered by just being able to understand the full process from waste to product, and not only see the before and after, let's say, state of the material. In order to involve the citizens in multiple levels, we have also developed this online platform where they could actually customize the new furniture of the city. And I can show you a bit how this worked. Basically, we have organized the customization process in a few steps. The first step would be to choose one of the basic shapes of the furniture. So, for example, this. Then answer to, and then decide what kind of functionality would they like to attribute to this furniture. So, for example, it could be that they wanted to have a bike rack, to have a tree next to the furniture, and maybe a dog feeder. So then the next step would be after deciding which extra functionalities to integrate, to choose a color, again, offering a pre-selected color palette. And then at the end, the user would be able to review the design and learn how much material we would need in order to produce it. So we ran this campaign for about 3 weeks, and we received about 3,000 unique designs in this small period of time. And what was very interesting to find out is that most of the people really wanted, besides new furniture, they really wanted green in the city, like trees and plants. So here on this slide, what you can see is like some examples of the designs that we have received, and then how we try to translate that into a printable element that does not only follow the shapes, but also the extra functionalities that the citizens voted through our design platform. And here you see this furniture being implemented on the central square in Thessaloniki. And for us, from a design point of view, it was interesting also to address the fact that by using digital fabrication, we don't need to have, let's say, repetitive elements in the city. So each of the benches could be unique, not only like in color, but also in shape and dimensions. And then, of course, we tried to push a bit the boundaries and create forms that are much softer compared to the traditional furniture that you might find in a city, with soft and ergonomic curves, and trying to, let's say, give the opportunity to the user to enjoy different body postures and have a nice break in the city next to a plant. And of course, the integrated extra functions. So depending on the requests that we receive, different possibilities of parking a bike or feeding a dog. This video shows a bit how we prepared this furniture and the way we planted them. And here to mention that the first phase of the project took place, it was a teaser phase. So some of this furniture, we placed them also at the waterfront of the city to see how people will react. And what was very interesting to see was that even though, the shapes were not necessarily the most typical ones, people were really positive and interested to use them and explore what are the possibilities with these new elements in the city. And from an environmental point of view, let's say in total, while doing this project, we managed to print 19 benches. And in that manner, recycle 1.5 tons of plastic waste. That translates to an equal amount of CO2 emissions that we saved. But what I think it was the most important thing in this and achievement in this project was the idea to involve the citizens in the full circle of the material, from collecting it, recycling it, also deciding how to give a new life to this material. And it was very interesting to work with students who were coming again and again with their families and feeling empowered to, let's say, decide for themselves what to do with their waste. What we were really proud of was actually that we managed to close the loop in a diameter of 15 kilometers. So basically, the locality, we managed to close the loop literally locally within the boundaries of the city. So the material was sourced, processed, and then relocated within diameter of 15 kilometers. So we didn't have, we could avoid many different weird logistics. So yeah, for now, this is my presentation about curiosity. I will be happy to discuss later more about it.
Thanks a lot, Foteini. It's very inspiring, and I hope we can have discussing more after in the Q&A. I give the floor to Miha, which will bring us to another perspective related to manufacturing on the project Vojext, which is about human-robot interaction.
Thank you, Ramona, for the floor. I hope you see my presentation. Just checking. So, yep. So, yeah, as mentioned, the Vojext project is focused on human-robot collaboration in manufacturing and construction. So, we're really looking in applications in real world, so in industry, where these new robotics are getting implemented. I mean, not only new, but let's say the new advancements. And on overall, the whole project is aiming at developing the new, the cyber physical system. So everything that is required to control all the sensors, all the motors, everything what you usually find in robotic arms and in mobile robotic systems, including the let's say learning engine modules and the knowledge base, and then feedbacking back to the system. Also, the project is developing specific building blocks, so from the grasping systems to the actuators, sensors, the whole, let's say, this environmental information and understanding platform, I mean, layer, and feedbacking back to all these elements that then interact with producing products. What is interesting here that we, as a STARTS partner in the project, we also contribute to the societal understanding of industrial robotics. So we don't participate only as bringing artists to the manufacturing as such, but we're also asked to bring in the understanding that technologies, for example, are not neutral, that it matters what's the agency behind, and also maybe to look at some perspectives that are usually not taken into account when you work on industrial robotics, especially from societal perspective. Just to get a bit of an impression, so within the project, we're already starting on some use case demonstrators. So these are very concrete cases that are going to use some of the new developments. However, this is not science fiction, this is real world. There is a factory working on new pillows, and they need new robotic system. And then, of course, you get all these nice challenges, how to manipulate these soft pillows that they don't damage and that everything is fine with them. Then we have a case that is actually manufacturing electronics, but now in the context of COVID, they also wanted to produce masks. So these cover shields, so they need kind of an adaptive manufacturing robot that can deal, let's say, with both types of production. Then we have a use case on construction, where they're looking for a robot that can do the wall finishing. So you put the boards on, and then you ask the robot to finish the job. I mean, there's a specific lack of skilled workers for this kind of tasks, and that's why they're looking for robotic applications. We have a case on crafts and culture, located in southern Italy, where they're trying to use robotic technologies for crafts, so for traditional crafts. It's a question: can you use contemporary robotics for a very traditional approach? Then, so let's say, through this, you can see that we are dealing with the real world. However, in the STARTS context, what we are aiming at is art-driven innovation. So literally, question is, how can artists innovate in a different way, and also bringing in societal perspective. However, since we are engaged a bit more than just organizing residencies, we introduced a phase ahead of the open call, and that's a collaborative exploration. That means that we are inviting all stakeholders in a project, but also artists, to help us understand these challenges that are emerging between different domains. One of the main, let's say, issues that we have in STARTS is a knowledge gap, or different types of gaps that appear when collaboration starts. So we try to move this, approaching this gap that starts usually in the first phase of residency, ahead of the open call, and try to address it already here. So what we're doing, first, let's say in first step, we kind of started with introduction and engaging the stakeholders. We organized a STARTS talk. Of course, in these COVID times, this was an online event where we presented that what kind of efforts artists are already putting into robotics. So that we have artists who are using industrial robotic arms for a different type of purposes, that we have more social robotics as well, and different types of engagement between humans and robots, and also trying to understand different types of humans that engage with robots. And also Patrick Tresse's approach, where robots are learning about their environment in a different way and then express these kind of learnings. So we opened a bit understanding of industrial robotics, how artists are already working in this field, so that technology partners and research partners can better understand the contribution of artists. Then in the second step, we went into mapping capacities and established understandings, mainly interviewing artists that work in robotics, so to better understand what are their angles, why they're doing this, and then bring this understanding to the next step. Also, we are organizing interviews with use cases, so with departments from industry, where we do interviews not just with, let's say, project managers or leaders or technologists, but also with workers, because at the end of the day, they are those that are the users of these robots. And also interviews with technology providers, so that we get a better mutual understanding. After that, we organized a co-creation workshop. Of course, these days, this looks like this. So many people in small windows. And then we developed the whole workflow and the workshop, which was organized in 2 days with 3-hour sessions. where we mainly addressed known challenges, mutual challenges, try to identify concerns from different perspectives that relate to these challenges, try to exercise collaboration. So the way different types of expertise domains can work together, learning from each other. I mean, also not being just a scientist, not being just an engineer, not being just an artist, but daring to be also, I mean, to step into other shoes. And also we address knowledge gaps in a way, what kind of knowledge we already have, what knowledge we already share, but also what kind of knowledge we still lack for the challenges and concerns that we identified in this regard. So what we are gaining out of all this exploration effort is a better understanding and acceptance of this human-robot collaboration that will lead in the open call, which we will announce later this year. We're waiting with the open call, especially because we want to organize these residencies in factories and in labs, physical environments. So we need a bit these regulations to get more relaxed. And also all this understanding contributes to the societal understanding of this industrial robotics. So that was a brief introduction in how we are pursuing our effort. What is important for us that all of this happens in more, as much as possible also in a public context, because for us, coming from WAG, we are pursuing the public research and innovation effort where citizens, workers, engineers develop in public space, so in a mutually shared context. That would be briefly from my side.
Thanks a lot, Miha. Super interesting, and really to see the methodology, how you have come to this point. I hope also to get back to it, and we could certainly dedicate a lot of time to this. You will also do residencies with Vojext. Maybe we can just have a short note on that.
We will have these residencies and we will go public later this year. Okay. We don't know yet precisely when, but yeah.
Thank you. Then I'll give the floor to Ali, who will talk about the project Better Factory, also supported by STARTS. And Better Factory explores how artists can contribute to manufacturing for the creation of more personal projects. But Ali will give you a detailed explanation. Ali?
Okay, thank you, Ramona. You hear it, and can you see the screen? Better Factory?
Yes.
Great.
But
okay.
not on full screen, we see your presenter's mode.
You see my presenter mode, because that means I'm sharing the wrong screen. Now it should be
perfect.
Okay, great. All right. So I think the name says it all. It's like Better Factory. It means that we are trying to make the factories a better place. And as you saw that Miha, because he comes from the art community, so he was using something really creative to make his presentation and his project. And while I am a technologist, so I'm using the slides here. But I hope that it's gonna be same effective also. So what is the project Better Factory about? It's an European project, and it's actually more or less like a sister project to Vortex, what you saw Miha was presenting. Both projects follow very different approach. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because we are both trying to explore very different aspects of how artists can come together into the manufacturing industry. My background is in technology. I'm a robotist from the background. And so for me, it's very, very exciting. It is my first time, and it is very exciting for me to be working with artist community and figuring out something new. I have a feeling that there could be something very exciting out there, and that's why I'm so happy that I got this project and I'm running it. So this project, what we are targeting is, if you are familiar with the today with the manufacturing, I think many of you probably know, if we go to Nike website, any of us can order our own shoe. We can choose from our size, starting from our size, we can choose the type of the sole we want, the color of the shoe we want, the type of the fasteners we want. Every single detail you can choose from the shoe, and then you can order it online and you can get it. This is a trend which has been picking up, that people would like to pay more. People would like to get more for their money when they can personalize a product, when they can think that this is one of a kind. And of course, there is certain amount of customization you can do. So what we are exploring in this project, that how this same opportunity can be given to the small, medium-sized manufacturer. It's the Nike, BMW, and all these big manufacturers, they are already going in that direction, and they have the infrastructure to deal with these things. But the small, medium-sized companies, they do not have the designers, they do not understand that how to customize their product, plus they do not have the facilities, the technology, how to modify their product out of thousands and thousands. So for example, when you order a shoe on the Nike website, your shoe is produced along the same manufacturing lines where thousands and thousands or even hundreds of thousands of shoes are produced for the mass consumer market. So this is the whole concept of Better Factory. So one of the key things we want to do is to have first a creativity challenge, and that is between the manufacturing SME and the artist. We want to figure out that what the key knowledge lies within the manufacturing factory. So maybe this factory is making, let's assume, plastic parts, but maybe their main knowledge lies in the type of the plastic. They maybe lies what temperature it should be used for, what temperature it should be melted to, how long it takes to get solidify. And this knowledge can have a tremendous impact for them to diversify their product. The second thing is the lean agile challenge. So the idea is that you remain lean. I think many of us know what is lean production, meaning like almost no waste in the production, but at the same time, you need to be agile. So being lean, many times what happens that the factory is very lean and they want to produce one thing with the maximum efficiency, but what it makes them non-agile. Anytime something goes wrong, something changes, or some new product order comes, it is not possible for them to deal with them. So actually a factory should be lean, at the same time it must be agile in today's. We do this also for the artist and for the company. So as I said, that we will come up with an idea that how new products can come out for the manufacturing SMEs, how an existing product can be transformed into an individualizable, into customizable product. But that means that we must be able to take it all the way to the market, and there we bring the investment challenge. So actually, once we identify all those elements, once we experiment with all those challenges, we would like to take the artist plus the manufacturing company all the way to the investors, all the way to the finance. So basically going into the market. That's one of the things we want to do. And the skill challenge, I think we know that all the manufacturing SMEs also need to understand how to deal with the latest technology. I think this is like a little brief. So we will make a trial of every experiment. Every time we are going to do is going to be three members. One is the manufacturing SME, somebody who manufactures something. They have a product. We have applications from companies who are making clothes, fabric, plastic products, roof tiles, solar panel, lighting elements. So there is all kind of applications we are receiving from the company. So we will have those, and then we will have certain number of artists. So we will pair them up with the proper artists, because not every SME can work with every artist, and so goes also not every artist can work with every SME. It depends on your background experience, it depends on your interest, it depends on the materials, you know, it depends with the tools you're familiar with. And same goes with the technology supplier. So we will also take one technology supplier. These are companies which are expert in providing automation, to provide more robots, to provide more technology to the companies, how to reduce waste in their production. Fundamentally, if you're moving from mass production to have the possibility of individualized production, it means you would need to extract more from your current production facility. These three of this trio will come together with us, and they will be working with us on so-called robotics and automation marketplace. This is one of our digital platforms where I think it requires a completely separate discussion, where I can, maybe another day I can present it. But fundamentally, it's an Amazon of business to business. Amazon is a place where you know that you can buy different things, what you need. So this is an Amazon for the manufacturing SMEs. They can buy automation, they can buy design services, they can buy consultancies, they can buy basically technology plus all the other stuff they would need to improve their production. So this is Amazon for the manufacturing SMEs. So here, basically, artists are the sellers and SMEs are the buyers. So we will actually, now at the moment, we have a situation that we have ongoing open calls. You can go to our website. You will find a button called like open calls. You click there, and then you can submit your application. If you're a manufacturing SME, you have a button there that I'm a manufacturing SME. I apply in here, and our top priority are in this area, because we think that there actually we can find the best collaboration between artists and the SMEs. Then we are looking the same way for the technology supplier, that they are able to do this. They have background and experience and technologies working in this sector. And then the third thing what we are looking for is the artists. So I think we have a certain requirements that when the artists come, they should have certain background in working with the SMEs, or not maybe SMEs with the manufacturing industry. This is very critical in our opinion, because this is one of the very starting places where European Commission is trying to do this. So I think this is very, very important that for us to create first stories as very successful, to win the trust of more manufacturing SMEs, so they become more comfortable and become more confident to work with artists. Because even now, when we go and talk to the manufacturing SMEs that we will provide you some product designer and artist, it is very difficult to convince them that they would like to work with an artist. I think, so this is our website, betterfactory.eu. So you can just go there and make an application. And I think the deadline is in a couple of days. It's on 18th of March. But the application takes like 15 to 20 minutes to make. So it's not really very, at the moment, we are only collecting individual expressions of interest. We are not asking you to make the full proposal. The only thing you have to do is to provide your own CV, fill out some of your own data, and then your application is done. We do not expect that at this time you find an SME and technology and everything. We will do the matchmaking and make the whole thing go forward. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ali. Thank you all. We are 10 minutes before the end of the session, so I'll immediately jump to the public. And are there any questions? There were a few questions in the chat. One from Giza. I don't know if Giza is still here, which was directed to Foteini. And she asked whether you plan to transfer Print the City to other cities and how you will proceed, and if the city is interested in implementing a project with you.
Yes, at the moment we are trying to expand, let's say, this project in more cities, more countries, etc. Of course, it's not always easy to do because especially the part of implementing the street furniture in public space, sometimes it's difficult because of local regulations, etc. But yeah, indeed, we are actively looking on how we can continue and expand this idea in a new in a new context, and in that way, let's say, let's develop our idea further.
Thank you, Foteini. There was another question from Beamer, M. Beamer. I don't know if you are still in the call, regarding the color of the printing, whether it's based on reused plastic or if you add some colors to it.
Yeah, that's a good question. So in the example that I showed, only the gray prints were on the natural color of recycling. For the rest, we have used color pigments in the process of printing. So, and that has an advantage that, for example, when you scratch it or sand the print, you will still find the same color. Depending on the source material, if it was light colored or not, we know, we defines actually what kind of colors we can achieve. So if we have a dark base color, because it's mixed plastics and mixed colors, then we can only do darker colors. But sometimes it is relatively easy to achieve color sorting in terms of light and dark colors. And then we can have a yellow and pink, brighter colors. And in our work, we really try to explore this possibility just to challenge a bit the mindset that sometimes people think that recycling has to be only brown, dark, gray, and black. So it's a bit on purpose from our side to explore the color possibilities with our technique.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So how many of you are planning to apply for the Better Factory or any of this? I was told that there are quite many artists here. Anybody? We offer 50,000 euros. But yeah, of course, the most important thing is that if you think that you can do these things, you would be interested. So for artists, we offer 50,000 euros. Maybe after 50,000 euros, there is somebody says that I will join.
There's a few people in the chat. Tiny Domingos, Cardas Milan, and Ham Halewijn. Interesting to see not only artists are here and are interested to participate, but I see there's also some companies.
Yeah, if you have a partner, let's say like if you have a manufacturing SME, which you think you would like to work with, also ask them to submit their expression of interest. So then you both come together and we will figure out that how we can help you in there.
There is also a question from Sarah, which asks if there will be another call.
about to the, this is about to close. Yeah, there will be another call in around year and a half or so, maybe 2. So I think there is 2 days. You have 2 days, and if you can find 20 minutes to half an hour, it might be enough.
Good morning, Ali. I have a comment. Do
Yes,
you hear
please.
me? So I'm Sylvain. I'm from University of Bordeaux in France. And actually, is it only English speaking? Because I explained my question. I actually know the artists here in France, which I can collaborate with them, and I would be happy actually to tell them about your program, but they don't speak English. It's a very stupid actually problem maybe, but I'm just wondering if it's, do you think
No,
of this issue?
no, we do not actually make it as a problem. We don't see it as a problem that people speak different language, because speaking a different language allows you to think in many different ways, which is the hallmark of creativity. The only thing can be problematic if you are in contact with a company from Bulgaria. Maybe they don't also speak any English, they only speak Bulgarian, and you only speak French. So I think there we can try to help, but you can understand that actually working together with any customer, the client, if you don't speak their language, it becomes, so that's the only downside I see. Otherwise, we have no problem. We get all the time this kind of applications where people don't speak English, but so what?
Okay. I was just wondering if it might be a good idea to have some country-based or language specific programs.
No. I think no, but in this, you know, the English somehow has become this language for all the European work. So.
Okay.
There's a question from Miha asking Sarah whether she could say a little bit more on her project in the south of Italy. Or a question from Sarah to Miha.
Yeah. Actually, we cannot share much more for now because we are just starting with the whole effort. I mean, as soon as we can, we will present and involve public, because especially at WAG, we work a lot on the public engagement so that you can join or learn from the development, but we are really in early stages. So as soon as possible, we will share on the Vojext website, WeSTART community, maybe in these kind of presentations, or yeah, we will look for ways to engage and share.
There is one question from Zadravko, if I'm pronouncing it right. I have already have a consortium. I think that's also okay if you want to apply as a consortium, but I highly recommend that you apply now as individual and then as a consortium later, because that can have a direct impact how much we can support you during the proposal preparation. And if you're not familiar with the goals of the project, because we are not here to just provide you money and you do what you do. Actually, you have to fit within the scope of the project and contribute something more than yours is one experiment we are doing. So it would really be useful that you apply now, come with us, so we can help you forward with your proposal. Otherwise, there is a good chance that others who are already going to be working with, they have a better chance of success. So that I would recommend that, yes, please now start now.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you all. I think if there are no more questions, we have